All right. So, hi everyone. My name is Ankush Sir, and you can see over the screen what we are going to learn today. So, the main objective for the today's class to make you understand about the PostgreSQL connectivity. So, what does it mean? PostgreSQL connectivity means like if I'm creating any user, how that user is going to connect to the database, right? That is what we are going to learn with our today's lecture. So, let's say there is a user. Okay. So, you have created this user, and this user he want to connect to your database. Let's assume that I have created one PostgreSQL database and this user he want to connect to the database. So basically we are trying to understand that do you think that this user can directly make a connections to the database or whether he required any permissions, privileges. So basically we are trying to understand about the flow. Okay. Before I proceed about this concept, just wanted to tell you that if you want to subscribe this channel or if you are looking for trainings related to the PostgreSQL, you can reach out to the Learnomate teams. The numbers are available over the screen. Okay, so now let's come back to our main agenda. So what I did, I have created one user with the name U1 under this PostgreSQL database. Now assume a situation that this person he want to connect to this database, right? So he will use any client machine, right? Let's say he is using the PG admin. Okay, PG admin he is using, and by using this PG admin, he want to connect to the PostgreSQL database. So whenever he is trying to make a connections to the database, obviously he will enter his user ID, he will enter his password, okay, and other details he will mention, right? So when he is entering his credential, basically your user ID and password, first of all, this connection request will be checked under one PostgreSQL file, and that file we call it as a pg_hba.conf. So there is a configuration file with the name pg_hba.conf. This configuration file is available on PostgreSQL server. What location? This file is available under your PG data location, means inside your data directory. So what this file contains? So whenever you want this user to connect to the database, by default, this user cannot connect to the database. If you think that I have created a user and can this user directly make a connection to the database? By default, no. Any user what you are creating under the database, he cannot directly make a connection to the database. You need to make the entry of that application user under this configuration file, which is available under PG data, which is in data directory. So what this configuration file is saying, under this configuration file, you need to mention about from what location, means from which IP address this connection is coming. You need to specify the IP address details, what level of security he is going to maintain, like whether he is going to use password, whether he is going to connect without password, whether the encryption will be there in password. Everything will be mentioned under this pg_hba.conf file. Apart from this, it will also have the information about what database he can connect, whether he can connect to all the database, because if I take the example of PostgreSQL cluster, you can have multiple databases here, right? So does this user can connect to all the databases or he can connect to the specific database? All the details will be available into this configuration file. This configuration file will be created automatically as soon as you are doing the installation of PostgreSQL cluster. But remember one thing, that whenever you are creating any user, that user details you need to update into this file. Without that, this user cannot make a connections to the database. So I'll give you one sample data what will be mentioned into this pg_hba.conf. So if you are trying to open this pg_hba.conf, this is how it will looks like. So let me try to explain that. So the first entry is all about the host entry. So what is this, like, from where your connections are coming, whether your connections are coming from your any local host. Local is basically where your network will not get involved, or whether your connections are coming from any particular host. So that details you can mention here. Now let's say there is a user one, the user who want to connect. Let's say there is a user one, he want to connect to the MyDB, and MyDB is the database name. So that details you need to mention. If you mention all here, then this user one can connect to any database. If you mention all, so you have both the options are there. Like you can specify the name of your database to whom this user want to connect, or you can mention all. All means he can connect to all the database under that PostgreSQL cluster. Now this is the IP range through which the user's connections are getting accepted. So you can specify the IP address, you can specify the range, like within that range only the PostgreSQL will take the connections for this particular database. And this is the authentication method. Like we have multiple authentication methods are there. Among them, one of them is trust. Trust means Like when user want to connect, he will not enter any password. Without password itself, he will be able to connect to the database. So you can mention trust. We likewise we have multiple other authentication methods are there. Like you can mention trust is one of them. Then second one will be your password you can mention. So which will ask the password, but this password will not be encrypted. You can also specify MD5, which will be getting your password will be MD5 hash password for authentication. And there is one more which is quite famous authentication method. We call it as scram dash SSH 256. So this authentication method also you can use. So this is completely depending upon your project to project and what type of security you people are maintaining. So when I was going through all this concept, one thing that you need to understand that whenever any user he want to connect to the database, this file play a very, very important role. And under this file, you need to make the entry of that user, and then and only then he can make a connections to the your PostgreSQL database. Okay. I hope this concept is pretty much clear, but still, if you have any questions, queries, anything, you can mention it into the comment section. And if you are thinking that I should create more and more videos based on PostgreSQL, you can mention interested into the comment section, and I'll definitely create a lot of videos. But this comment is very, very important for me. Apart from this, if you're looking for PostgreSQL DBA related trainings, you can reach out to the Learnomate teams, and the numbers are available over the screen. One last important thing which I want to tell you, you can join our WhatsApp group, you can join our social media like Instagram, you can follow me on the LinkedIn. All the links are available in the description of this video.